What are the differences between Ophiuchus and Sagittarius? I get this question all the time. So I'll try to explain from my point of view of how I see things. Now, as a Sagittarian, right? My birthday falls on the December side. And we all know that there's a difference anyway between the November and the Decembers. And that has to do with the Deccans, okay? That's another conversation. But as a Sagittarian, we spend our lives, living in our truth. We have really blunt mouths. We're honest, a lot of us, some of us aren't. I'm not going to say that all of us are, but we're honest in our visions. I'll say that, or how we see our lives going, how we want our lives to be, etc. We live our lives, without having to look at people and say, accept me. Right? We don't care who accepts us. We don't care who listens to us. We don't care who likes us. We don't care. Any of that energy is not something that is important to a Sagittarius. And just living as an authentic version of yourself is what you try to do in your life. Okay. So with that comes your restlessness, your bluntness. People say that we avoid commitment, but that's not always true. Commitment usually avoids us because we stand in such truth, and we require truth out of other people, so that people that don't live honestly, or people that are living their lives how they want to live their life, don't want to really stand in our truth a lot of times. So we may find ourselves saying, hey, that Sagittarian energy may run from commitment, but is it really running from commitment, or is it running from BS? Okay, so that's first and foremost. Now, a lot of times as well, I'm looking at something that I wrote down so that I can not forget anything. We're very bold. A lot of us could be very boisterous. It's almost like, I love myself. I want you to know how much I love myself. That's a Sagittarian for you. And that's the younger us, right? That's us when we're younger. Me, I'm about to be 53 years old soon. Okay, so I'm a different type of Sagittarian. I have moved into what I call the Ophiuchus energy. And what that means to me is that I'm now elevated, right? I've learned my lessons. I've been through the ups and downs of life. I now understand things on a different level. I am now able to process things a little differently. I'm even able to shut my mouth like I couldn't do when I was younger, right? I'm more in a place of knowing that there's a time and a place for everything, and my thoughts are not something, or my opinions are not something that's always going to fit with everyone else. So, it's a higher elevation. It's a higher vibration as well. Here comes in the Kundalini energy. The soulmate types of energies, right? The understanding of those, the mysticism of everything having to do with your life transforming in each section, okay? You can possibly look at your life and say, at this stage, I was this person. At that stage, I was this person. And now I'm this person. This is who I've elevated to. I'm more into nature, more into healing others as well as myself. I'm more into apothecarying. I'm more into, nature's way of healing, right? Mental health is here. Me being in tune with my intuition is more than me going out with my friends or hanging out or doing this or doing that. I'm not saying I don't want to do those things, but I'm more of a homebody now. I'm more in tune with how energy affects me when I walk into a room, or how other people can impact my bubble, right? That is more in the Ophiuchus energy. Shadow work has been done. I now can look at the dark versions of myself and say, okay, I've come from here. I know this, These are the things that I still need to work on. These are the things that, I have actually completed and have mastered, etc. Right? Knowing that you are always in a reconstructive phase. Okay? A lot of us, when we're younger, we don't feel that way. We can pick up on it as we grow older because we're now wiser. We're more in tune with our needs, right? I could tell you now that I need certain things because of the things that I've went through, and that's the wisdom that comes, with the Ophiuchus side as well, right? It's a more aware energy of knowing exactly who you are, what you stand for, what you don't, what you need, what you don't, etc. And yeah, it's a very special place to be, being an alchemist, being able to transmute energy, being able to really just pick the pieces of my life that I want to change, or that I, want to focus in on. It's a lot different than when I was younger, and a lot different than when I was just in my Sagittarian type of energy. The wisdom. I feel like I'm a lot smarter now than I was when I was younger. I feel like not only do I have, life energy, life wisdom, I have spiritual wisdom, spiritual guidance. I know that there's a team that guides me. I know that, God is within me, right? I know all of these different things that I didn't really know, that I knew then. Okay, and a lot of you may not be there, but if you've ever felt like you were just, not, I won't say weird, because I sort of have felt weird in my life, but if you've ever felt out of sorts, if ever felt like something was missing in your life, it could be because those attributes of the Ophiuchus side of you were not either activated yet or were not a part of your life. And we choose to do, some of us readers and some of us spiritual healers choose to embrace Ophiuchus as the 13th sign, but society and NASA and everything else wants to say that it's not, right? Okay. That is, the way that they see things, and that's fine. But if it's a constellation, for me, it absolutely exists. And for me, it helped to define a lot of the things that was missing in my life and that I really couldn't put a connection to because I really didn't know where to put it, if that makes more sense to you. So, shedding skin, being able to be a different version of yourself, a better version of yourself, and one that's more calm, one that is more reserved, one that is more in tune, in love. That's really what the Ophiuchus energy is. So if you feel like you're here, right, welcome. Right? Just know that if your birthday is those dates that I outlined at the beginning, or I don't know if I did, but it's November 29th to December 17th. Know that if you fall in there and if you ever felt, just a little out of sorts, or that things, with just the Sagittarian readings, what have you, wasn't really tapping into you, just know, and it doesn't matter. You can have it in your Venus, you can have it in your sun sign, you can have it, in other placements as well, as long as your birthday falls, in those dates, for the regular people. Okay. If you have, and what I'm trying to say, I'm like getting all jumbled up, but if you have like Sagittarius in another sign, just know that there could be some things with Ophiuchus that tap into you as well. You just want to stay in tune with how you're feeling mostly about everything. And if you have any questions, as you guys have been doing, please feel free to ask me. I'm always here to answer, and I'll always answer you. Peace, love, and light.